How to fight in a relationship? Now, I know what you're thinking, but Tanvir, I thought fighting is bad for the relationship. What's up everybody? Welcome to the video. My name is Tanvir Ahmed, and hey, consider subscribing if you haven't already to upgrade yourself and your relationships to the next level. John Gottman is a hotshot psychologist and researcher who has spent over 30 years analyzing married couples and looking for keys to why they stick together and, more importantly, why they break up. When it comes to why do people stick together, he dominates the field. What Gottman does is he gets married couples in a room, puts some cameras on them, and then he asks them to have a fight. Notice that he doesn't ask them to talk about how great the other person is. He doesn't ask them what they like best about their relationship. He asks them to have a fight. Pick something they're having problems with and then talk about it for the camera. And from simply analyzing the film for the couple's discussion or shouting match, whatever, he's able to predict with startling accuracy whether a couple will divorce or not. But what's most interesting about Gottman's research is that the things that lead to divorce are not necessarily what you think. Successful couples, like unsuccessful couples, he found, fight consistently, and some of them fight furiously. But Gottman has been able to narrow down 4 characteristics of a couple that tend to lead to divorces and breakups. And I'm sure you're dying to know what they are, so here they are. First, criticizing your partner's character. For example, "Oh my god, you're so stupid," versus "that thing you did was stupid." Second, defensiveness, or basically blame shifting. For example, "I wouldn't have done that if you weren't late all the time." Third, contempt, or putting down your partner and making them feel inferior. And fourth, stonewalling, or withdrawing from an argument and ignoring your partner. So now that we know how not to fight in a relationship, let's take a look at how you should actually fight in a relationship. Never insult or name call your partner. Put another way, hate the sin, love the sinner. Gottman's research found that contempt, which is belittling and demeaning your partner, is the #1 predictor of divorce. Do not bring previous fights or arguments into the current one. I mean, do I even need to explain this? This solves nothing and just makes the fight twice as bad as it was before. Yeah, he forgot to pick up groceries on the way home. But what does that have anything to do with him being rude to your friend last Thursday? If things get too heated, take a breather. Remove yourself from the situation and come back once emotions have cooled off a bit. So when things get too intense, just go out and take a walk for about 15 minutes. Then come back and resume the discussion in a calmly manner. Oh man, this is such a big one. Remember that being right is not as important as both people feeling respected and heard. Look, I understand. You may be right, but if you're right in such a manner that makes your partner feel unloved, then there's no real winner. But all of this takes for granted another important point, and that is to be willing to fight in the first place.
Is that a problem?
No.
I think when people talk about the necessity of good communication all of the time, which is a vague piece of advice that everyone says but few people seem to actually clarify what it means. This is what they mean. Be willing to have the uncomfortable talks. Be willing to have the fights. Say the ugly things and get it all out in the open. The relationship is a living, breathing thing. Much like the body and muscles, it cannot get stronger without stress and challenge. You have to fight. You have to hash things out. Obstacles make the marriage. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you like this video and subscribe and turn on the bell notification to get notified every time I publish a new video. And as always, I'll see you next Thursday.